I'm Tom Brokaw. It's been years since 9/11, and yet we continue to tell the stories of the children, parents, and families, airline passengers, and air traffic controllers, the firemen and other first responders, for they inspire and give us hope. But how do we tell the story of the rest of America? Those who watched the images and heard the accounts and were forever changed. As they went through their own experiences with loved ones in war zones and struggled with economic uncertainty at home, they never gave up. The story of America cannot be told in words and images alone. Join the Mormon Tabernacle Choir and Orchestra at Temple Square in a remembrance of 9/11, of a nation rising above.
Over the years, thousands of Americans have traveled to Ground Zero.
For most, the experience is deeply moving, spiritual, like a visit to Gettysburg or Arlington National Cemetery. It is a sobering and humbling experience to reflect on the terrible loss of life and the irrational violence that caused it. But the memories of fearless bravery by ordinary fellow citizens fill us with awe and pride. To so many visitors, it is a life-changing experience. In that sacred place, they examine their own destiny and renew a commitment to what the hymn describes as the beauty of the earth and the joy of human life.
We saw an explosion. The towers were not too far off in the distance. And we came to understand that was the second plane hitting the South Tower at the time. It was then that I realized something was very wrong. And I turned to the driver, I said, "Take me home. My time with my family is what I hold most treasured." I didn't think it would be possible or that it would require an event like 9/11 to make me feel any more connected to my wife and my children. But I worked to be with my family. I worked to have more time with them. The one thing that I have that I can hold on to the most is my family, my faith, and my friends.
My sister was taking her children to a school in East Coast in Rhode Island, and she talked Mom into a little vacation. They're going to go to Rhode Island and New York and visit some sites, and Mom was excited about it. I remember her calling me the night before she came home. I said, "How's it going?" She says, "Oh, it's just wonderful, but I have to fly home." And I said, "You'll be fine." And so she took off that next morning from Boston and never heard from her again. The main thing from my mother is her optimism and her love of life and her love and appreciation of the people around her. To give the benefit of the doubt to people around her and to see the good in them. And to not shy away from interaction as I'm prone to do sometimes. Maybe I could be a little bit more like my mother and reach out to people.
We were always a really close family growing up, my brothers and I and my parents. They made sure that we worked together and we played together. And Brady was actually going to fly home that weekend, and we were going to have a big family get together. Having lost my brother in 9/11, I committed to make sure that my family was really close. So now as I raise my family, we want to make sure that we have fun together and we build those memories and that my kids are close to each other.
Among the most poignant stories are those of the children. Trying to understand the sudden violent loss of family members and the terrifying images of destruction reminds us all of the lost innocence of that day and the days to come. We have learned again that nothing can extinguish the influence of a human life, particularly as it is felt in the heart of a child. That, too, is part of the legacy of 9/11. Billy Joel reminds us all that the lullabies that we sing to children, those tender songs that shape their lives and the love they express, can never die. Someday
I remember we kept calling up behind us to see what floor people were coming from, and we never heard anybody from the 92nd floor and up. But then I heard the second tower come down, the first one that was hit, and that's when I slumped in my chair, realizing that I was there just a little while ago. My priorities had almost changed in an instant, where I was worried about making the money and commuting and getting the finer things in life, so to speak, and then realizing that I almost didn't come home at that point, and thinking of my family and my wife and kids.
The memory of rescuers, civilians, as well as first responders, the raw courage of the fight-back passengers on United Flight 93, those are the images that endure. We wonder, would I be as brave? Their sacrifice was a personal choice to put others before their own well-being. People of every religious persuasion recognize that this is grace, the willingness to give what has not been earned and may not be deserved. It is certainly the highest virtue and the deepest expression of love for others. Perhaps this is why Amazing Grace has become our salute to those who sacrifice themselves for others. John Newton, first a slave trader, then a rescuer of slaves, described this grace as amazing, and so it is. Irving Berlin's original God Bless America included the words, "Make her victorious on land and foam." But victory is not on the battlefield alone. There is also the victory of the heart and faith and compassion. God Bless America became the unofficial anthem of 9/11 because so many found comfort and guidance in its soaring stanzas. It bound together a nation in need of a common voice. Today, with arms outstretched to one another and hands willing to serve, America has come together once again. May it ever be so.
We were literally looking up at it, frozen as it came down, and then turn around and run and just kind of sprint to get away from it. And looking back over your shoulder, there's this wall of black smoke, and that's when, it all got dark. So, I've got 3, soon to be 4 children, and they've all been born after September 11th. So in the last 10 years, all my children have been born. They're going to learn about September 11th in their history books and in their history classes in school as they grow up. What I hope for them, and not just my children, but for their generation, is that they can never forget how precious this country is and the principles of freedom that we enjoy here.